are Plagueclaw Catapults sitting in patch 6.2.2. Actually, they've been one of the more consistent, quiet superstars in the game since Skaven were released. Let's go over what makes them flat out awesome, and the few shortcomings, which means you can't rely on them to solve literally every problem. They're disturbingly close, though. Recruited for 900 gold and 225 upkeep. No cheap sum in a world where goblin rock larbers exist. On Ultra, you recruit 4 catapults with 5,028 health between them. I guess it wasn't just my eyes fooling me, it's actually harder to mess with them than some artillery in the game. Armor is 30, leadership 54, speed 20 and cannot run, and the crew melee stats, I mean they're bad even for respectable factions. This is Skaven. Not even gonna bother. Off to ranged. Ammunition starts at the ancient standard of 22 lobs. Range is 400, a nice even number. Missile damage is formally 142, and each shot inflicts magical damage and the contaminated debuff for minus 10 leadership for 10 seconds, beyond, being hit by artillery. Now, it's important to note, this doesn't stack with Plague Priest or Plague Monk debuffs, but will stack with things inflicting the burnt debuff like Warpfire Throwers. Want Hex Wraiths to give up the ghost? Burn and contaminate them at the same time. Anyone unlucky enough to be hit directly takes base 45 and armor-piercing 105 damage. There's a detonation radius of 5 meters, and within that, base 35 and armor-piercing 70 as splash explosive damage. Reload time is 18 seconds. Total accuracy is given as the standard 20 at rank 0 and gets better with rank. Calibration distance is given as 600, which means there won't be wild accuracy losses at any range it'll ever hit. Calibration area 150 means that your best case scenarios still have a lot of drift, but total accuracy will help improve that with rank. Penetration size is large, and an absolute maximum of 10 targets beyond the first can be damaged by the impact shot we described at the start until the explosion. In the redline skills, 3 pips of engineering skill gives ammunition plus 20% and reload time reduction 9%, very nice. Warp Smart gives rank 7 and up crews leadership plus 5, missile strength plus 12%, and spell resistance 15%. In the tech tree, Promoted on Merit has the dramatic impact of ammunition plus 20% and reload time reduction 10%, and They Can't Blame Their Tools grants plus 10 armor and missile strength plus 10%. So how do we use Plagueclaw Catapults? First, let's posit that Warlock Engineers can do more to make Plagueclaws great. Plus 10% to range would make the range 440 meters, and that's awesome. Plagueclaws are a reliable, but not hyper-accurate, catapult unit that has an extra morale debuff, for sure, but the magical attack and armor piercing is just a constant bludgeon that hammers the enemy. The problem is that this happens at an arc, and with too little accuracy for single entities to care much. That's why the lightning cannon exists. The arc is also not so high that certain terrain features can't mess with this and make your life hard, and it is of limited utility in sieges to hit enemies sneaking behind walls, though it can pelt the walls and towers themselves. But that's why poisoned wind mortars were introduced. This is a mid-game artillery unit of reasonable cost. It's one thing if Dwarfs are cannoning them to pieces. If Dwarfs are not doing so, because they slacked off, this single unit type can devastate almost an entire army of Dwarfs. Yes, you eventually run out of space to operate, though you can use whatever tricks you can to delay that inevitability: menace below, vermintide spam, hero contributions, magic to slow and poison units in general, rattling guns to do suppressed, and during that time the catapults are whittling the enemy down. You just can't rely on them for units that are too fast and too few in number to be easy prey to this. A lot else is food. So the Plagueclaw is great, it is consistent in terms of what it does, it has built-in spread, but the spread doesn't get worse. It's just, it cannot fire at really short ranges no matter how much ammo it has left. Also, while you have ways to use it with your forces to a degree, its arc isn't so high that it can't take out nice chunks of your own side's troops if allowed to. Yeah, within those limitations, it's great, and for the few situations they're not, like being ambushed when you are playing an ambush faction. A lot of other units wouldn't save you anyway. For most situations, they're great to the point you badly want them to unload every contaminated munition in the arsenal, and once they're dry, the enemy may not be all dead, but they're in rough and tattered shape. Take care, and have fun spreading plague through the decayed corpse of an animal After which, you can take Rutger Horror's castle by storm. Once disease does its work, war comes down to flesh and blood. I doubt many have seen this movie, but the inventive use of Plague as a weapon absolutely stuck in me when I first saw this Skaven unit.